people. How are you doing? Please say hi in the comment section and let me know where you are joining me from. Trust me, I can see your comment live, so don't feel shy. This is a safe space. It's called Diverse Perspective because we want to hear your perspective and we are going to share our perspective. Hi everyone, my name is Flora Daisy. I am a digital accessibility expert and founder at Linoratech. Well, oftentimes people say, oh, it's so hard to create inclusive and accessible experiences and technology such as website. Well, Linoratech has the value and mission to help tech leaders and professionals through coaching and auditing in creating easily inclusive and accessible digital products. But enough about Linoratech. Let's talk about today's topic, which is all about thinking outside the box and going from tech journey to accessibility, or I will say accessible service. When I was thinking about today's topic, I felt like the guest speaker I have today is just the right person to come here and share with you his journey and his solution. He's just an incredible, warm person. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna just bring him here. Gavin Neate is just an incredible person. I mean, his energy and the way he's thinking about creating inclusive experience for everyone. It's just mind blowing, and he does it in a very simple way. There's no complication about him. So I'm just gonna bring him here. Hi, Gavin. Please say hi in the comment section, guys. Say hi so that we know that you're here.
Hello, everybody. Hello, Flora. It is impossible not to smile whenever I see you. It's just, you make me smile inwardly and outwardly. It's amazing. Love it.
I'm so happy to hear that. Yes, I have a very bubbling identity, I would say. You know what, usually I love to describe myself also on this platform just to create a little bit more inclusive experience to everyone. So I am a Black woman. I love to smile. I have today long braids and I'm wearing like a green kind of blouser, and that's about me. Gavin, can you please introduce yourself so that the audience get to know who you are, and you can self-describe as well if you want to.
Well, I'll start with a self-description. So, my name is Gavin Neate. I'm 50. Oh, wait a second. Am I 54 or 55? I'm 54 or 55, somewhere in between there, a sliding scale. And I look pretty much as I would do at that age. I've got a grey goatee. My hair is pretty much grey. I'm kind of looking a little bit like a teen because I'm wearing my hoodie right now. My hoodie does have Levi's on one side and Welcome on the other, which we'll be talking about later. And I try and equal Flora with a smile, but it's impossible. So I will do my best to smile as much as Flora.
Oh, I love it, love it. Gavin, can you also introduce yourself in a way that what do you do and what are you passionate about? And so we'll talk later on about your own journey.
So I think Simon Sinek would be always talking about why, and I think passionate about it comes before what I do. So I'm passionate about, at a very basic foundational level, I'm passionate about equity. I'm passionate about diversity. I'm passionate about equality. I'm passionate about the world being equal, or as being made as equal as it possibly can for each of the individuals that live in it. And that I can't really understand where that comes from. I guess it comes from. I've got a wolf dog over here that's just gone row row row. That wasn't my stomach.
I think he's also passionate about inclusion.
I'm just incredibly passionate about equity and equality, and that has then come into what I do and what I deliver with my work. So yeah, that's kind of where I am.
I love it, love it. Again, audience, if you are joining us at any point in time, please say hi in the comment section and let us know where you are joining us from. If you have anything to share, a thought while we are going through this small little chat with Gavin, share it in the comment section. If you have any question, again, feel free to share. This is the perfect time to get some answers live with Gavin. I mean, he's the man who has created incredible things. But by the way, Gavin, you said that you were in the military. So how come a person in the military go from literally working in the military to becoming a tech inventor and not only a tech inventor, but an inclusive tech
Yeah.
inventor? Tell me more.
Well, one of the massive advantages of being a little bit older is that you have the opportunity to split your life into different sections. And I didn't know I was going to, but that's exactly what I did. So from the age of 17 and a half till 27 and a half, I was a RAF police dog handler. And then I left the military and I joined Guide Dogs for the Blind, wanting to be a dog trainer, but actually being pushed towards being a guide dog mobility instructor, because as much as I loved the dogs, I was more inclined towards the people, and I saw the independence that a guide dog or a seeing eye dog could give somebody as being this amazing tool. And I just wanted to be hands off. I just wanted to watch my guide dog disappear off down the street with their new owner. So being hands off was everything that I felt that I could be. So military police for 10 years and then Guide Dogs for the Blind for 18 years. So pretty much involved with dogs my entire professional working life, and then suddenly started coming up with inventions for helping disabled people. Oh, fundamentally, that's what I do.
I love it. I love it. And what you just said around creating an experience that is inclusive to the point that a person who's blind can just freely walk away with a guide dog and just feel confident about places where they go and so much more. That's incredible. I want to acknowledge, I see someone also said hi in the comment section. Hi, Gary. Oh my goodness. He said, greeting from Maryland, USA. Oh, we're so happy to have you here. I used to live in Maryland for a couple
Seriously.
of years. Yes, I moved a
Wow.
lot in the States. So happy to see you. Again, people, if you want to say hi in the comment. We can see you. We can answer the question live too.
Yeah, yeah. I want to see Scotland pop up there. I want to see Scotland where I am. I'm in Scotland now. So
How
I'm
did
desperate to see
people
Scotland
from
pop up.
Scotland here? How did people from UK, people from the States? Just tell us, where are you joining us from? Yes. So you said something around the fact that, you love just to make things inclusive and equitable for everyone. I have a lot of great friends with a disability, and I know that most people with a disabilities, usually when they have to go to retail stores or to events, to hotels, they feel left out. Even to go to book an airplane ticket and get like the experience, it's so limiting, and the experience is actually creating more, challenge for them. But you said that there is a solution, and I want to hear you talk a little bit about it. But before that, let me just again say hi to a few people. I see Gary with a smiling face. I'm so happy to see that. Ariel is also here. Hi, Ariel from Argentina. And Ariel is also an incredible person who always come over and follow the show. And he is a person who is blind. So I think that is going to be incredible to hear, what you have to say
Yeah,
about a
yeah.
solution, because sometimes people feel left out.
Yeah, so this is something that I saw when I worked for Guide Dogs for the Blind. One of my jobs was training the people how to get around on the street. But part of the job was, how does somebody interact when they go into a building? Now, that building could be a hospital, a health center, it could be a cinema, it could be a shop, a post office, it could be anywhere. But I was always observing my client from a distance and then watching how well they coped when somebody was maybe a little bit discriminatory but towards them. And then I would go up to the staff member afterwards and I would say to the staff member, oh, next time you meet Michael, or whoever it might be, next time you meet him, could you make sure you do this, this, and this, and this? Because that's going to make their experience so much better. And then eventually what I started doing, because I realized that was too late, I would run ahead of my client I would go into the shop when I knew where they were going. I would speak to the staff member and I would say, my client is going to walk through the door. When they walk through the door, please make sure you introduce yourself. Don't talk to their guide dog. Ask them what they're needing today. Offer sighted guide. Don't take their arm. They'll take your arm. If you're walking away from them, make sure you say you're going. And then I would stand back and watch my client interact with the staff member and vice versa. And they always had better customer service when I'd spoken to them 2 minutes before they met. And my brain was just like, oh, wow. Well, it's going to be very difficult for me to do this because I can't run ahead of every single client. So there must be a better way of doing it. And then I put all my mind into that and then trying to come up with a solution for that.
Yes. Oh, I love it. So what you're saying basically is that if the information is provided to the staff member a little bit before the person come in, it creates an inclusive experience for that person.
For everybody, for the staff member as well, because the staff member feels more comfortable talking to the person who's coming through the door. Now, we went back 100 years ago. The only way to do this would be a telegram, or maybe the window would open and a pigeon would fly in and it would unwrap a note and it would say, oh yeah, there's somebody coming in a couple of minutes time. I mean, but time has moved on. But what's actually happened over the last 100 years is we've remained stagnant. What we've done is we've used exactly the same technologies or devices. We've done a bit of staff training, and then we've crossed our fingers, and then we've hoped that the staff will remember what to do when the person walks through the door. And of course, it can't work because the person's going to forget a lot of what they were trained. And we're not just talking about visual impairment here. We're talking about any number of conditions and disabilities that somebody might be living with that make it really difficult for them to even pluck the courage up to go to that venue in the first place. So it's a massive challenge to actually make sure a staff member has all the information they need. And staff training just wasn't cutting the mustard, as we say. It just wasn't fulfilling its potential.
Definitely. And I can see that unfolding that way because even some of the training I've seen out there are super long. Like the company will hire a consultant or a trainer to come over. It's going to be for a full 1 day, a full 2 day, like 2 or 3 hours, and like push. It's like somebody pouring, water from a fire. It's just pouring on the people, so they will retain some information, which is fantastic, but they will leave some information out because sometimes even the job they're doing is so demanding. But there is another situation also that happened, Gavin. Sometimes people get the training, and that's great, but then they move to another project or they move to another company, and so now you're left out with people who did not receive the training.
So if we look at retail, hospitality, tourism, all of those trades and plenty of others have a turnover of staff. Some might have like somebody working for 8 weeks and then they move on. It could be a college student. It could be somebody. Now, you're not going to put the same amount of training into somebody you know is only going to be there for 8 weeks. If you know somebody's going to be there for the next 8 years, you're likely to invest more training. And the best training possible, yes, all training is good. All training is good. Do not get me wrong on that. But if you're trained by a disabled person, it sticks in your brain. If they manage to connect that with something that's actually happening in the real world, it sticks in their brain for longer. But that turnover of staff means that you could spend a fortune on training and it is always going to be playing catch up. And you are always going to have a percentage number of your staff who haven't had the training yet. And in those situations, they are opening up themselves and their company and their client to discrimination. And that's a massive challenge that we just needed to address.
Yes, definitely. I want to ask the audience, have you been in any training in your organization? I'm trying just to gauge how people are exposed to accessibility training. Have you ever had a training in accessibility? I know for sure for me, throughout my experience, because my expertise is in accessibility, I had a chance to work alongside people who have a disability and people without disability who have great knowledge around accessibility. But I always also play catch up because I'm trying to get some training. I'm going to conferences. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. But I do that mostly because that's my area of expertise. So I'm always trying to level up. But for the everyday people who are working behind, the cashier side, or people who are serving, people in the hotel, people in museum, people, you name it, that's not really where their expertise lie. So how are they supposed to, retain that information for such a long time and things like that? But you said that there is a solution. Can you tell us a little bit more about that solution now?
Yeah, so this is an international podcast here. We're talking to the world. Okay, now I don't speak. I speak English and I speak a little bit of Polish and a little bit of Croatian, but I wouldn't be able to remember how to say those words. But if I knew, and this is the most important thing, time. If I knew 20 minutes from now that there was going to be a knock at the door and a Japanese person would be at the door, I can go on the internet and I can see how to say hello, my name is in Japanese. And I could do that for 280 odd languages in the world, more than likely. I could find out if I knew they were coming, I could have that information in my hand because the most amazing bit of kit we've got, which is the mobile phone or the iPad or whatever, has the ability to get that information to our hands. So I can find out how to interact with the person who's coming to the door. And of course, that can be somebody who's disabled. Now, if the disabled person wants me to know they're coming, they say, oh yeah, I'm coming to the train station. I'm a wheelchair user. I need a little bit of help with such and such and such and such. It's also important that you know that I have a hearing impairment. The staff member goes, oh, there's somebody coming to the train station in 2 hours. They're a wheelchair user. They look like this. They also have a hearing impairment that I wouldn't have known about because it's a hidden disability. I know that I know that they're going to arrive at a certain time. I'm going to approach them and I'm going to say hello, and I'm going to put in all of the things that Gavin has put into welcome that's going to appear on the screen, which will be an overview of what it is to have a hearing impairment and be a wheelchair user, and then top tips on how to interact with anyone, not just this person, anyone with those conditions, a bit like a staff training tool. And then underneath that, we have links to actually provide the person, the staff member, with a deeper dive. So a video on how to give sighted guide, a video on first aid if somebody was epileptic, a video on what it is to have a neurodiverse needs, and then information on whether it's a good idea to turn down music or whether it's a good idea to take your a light source from behind you and stand so the light is on your face if somebody's lip reading. So we can provide staff members with the information that they need before the person walks through the door. I say we, the disabled person does it. And that's the key. We are empowering disabled people to provide the information that is going to make their visit more productive.
Ooh, I love it. I love it. Ooh, this is exciting. I think that what you're describing is literally what you were doing manually or physically, going before the person with a guide dog to give them a little bit of context to create an inclusive experience by helping the staff very quickly and removing yourself. But instead of doing it manually, you let the solution, the application do that, but with the voice of the person who has the disability. This is incredible. Oh, wow. I don't know, the audience, if you're getting excited about this solution, but I think this is going to be a game changer. Can you imagine if you have staff moving all around different projects, but you still get the right information at the right time before, the client walk in? This is pure retention. This is pure engagement. Like, I don't know how many companies are doing that right now, but this is great. I want to acknowledge Holly. She said something in the comment. Yes, Holly said.
I know Holly. Holly, yeah, Holly is a client of my company's. Holly works for City of Westminster Council, right in the center of London. Holly engaged with us. They installed, I didn't know Holly was going to be here today. They installed in 3 different venues. And then within a year, they said, we want this in all of our venues. They put it in all of their libraries and all of their leisure centers. So anybody living in the center of London can go to one of the City of Westminster Council venues, knowing that they can be interacted with by somebody who understands their needs. And Holly's there is saying they've got it in Westminster. So, I mean, Holly, anybody that engages with this company and does things like that, they are champions. And I can't applaud Holly more because she's just a superstar.
Oh, I love it, love it. Holly, thank you so much for sharing. I want to just read quickly what she said verbatim. She said, Welcome me gives us at Westminster, and sorry if my language is still, weird, uh, bite size,
Bite size, like little bites.
bite-sized training. Oh, I love that. Bite-sized training every time someone books a visit to one of our buildings. This is pure joy because I think that this is what people need. The overloaded information through training, 3 days training, like it's fantastic. But hey, listen, if we can get a small information just ahead of time, like somebody giving us a nudge and say, hey, by the way, this is how you do it, you get
Yes.
that information straight right here. And then when a person with the disability or similar disability walks in, you already got that information in mind. So there is no way not to create an inclusive experience for that person or for other person with the similar disability. Thank you so much for sharing, Holly. Again, audience, if you have any comment, you want to share something, feel free. Or if you're curious about how does this solution even work, how does a person with a disability put their data in, and how does it work, how do they even know that I'm coming? I mean, I'm gonna let Gavin explain a little bit, but I see Holly said it's made such a huge difference to us and our residents, customers, and our staff in terms of their continuous learning. Ah, see, everyone wants inclusion. Everyone wants inclusion, even the staff. They're not there to just make, create a hard time or given a hard or challenging experience for people. So for them also to know exactly what to do, it creates confidence in the work that they're doing, because they don't want to just sit there and say, oh, am I supposed to talk to the person who's blind? Am I supposed to hold their hand? Am I supposed to am I even allowed to ask this type of question? You remove the guest around the work and let people just be professional and do what they're supposed to do. Thank you so much, Holly. And again, if you have any question, feel free. If you want to just say hi or say, oh my goodness, Gavin, what you just said is killing me, it's blowing my mind, feel free. And I want also to take this opportunity to tell the audience, if you are working in industry and they are not really aware about this solution, please feel free to share the link, because this session is going to be a recording, a replay. Just feel free to grab the link, and then you can reshare in your network, or you can reshare to any person who will see value in this talk today. And so, Gavin, yes, please tell us more. How does a person with a disability leverage such solution?
Yeah, it's really simple. We decided to make it as simple as possible. The other thing we decided was it was going to be free. Because disability is a tax on disabled people. Disabled people end up spending more just to live a normal life, or what is seen as being a normal life. It costs them more. So we wanted to make it so that they didn't have to pay for this. So the business pays to be able to use this platform. The disabled person just sets up a profile for free. To set up a profile, they go to, and there'll be links somewhere, but it's my.well-co.me. Replay it later and then go back. It's my.well-co.me. The person sets up a profile online. Now, because it's free, there's no credit card details. Because we don't need to know, we're all about arriving places, we don't need to know where somebody lives. So the data that we're collecting is tiny. It's just, can we tell a venue that 20% of the people that used it last year were hearing impaired? Yes, we can, because we can collect that data. But that's all the data we collect. As you might imagine, as a guide dog mobility instructor, my first bottom line foundation was, this is to improve the lives of disabled people. I wasn't coming in this from technology. But the person goes to my.well-co.me, they set up a profile, they look down a list of venues, they click on a venue, they find out information about that venue. They then decide if they want to go to the venue based on what the venue can actually deliver for them. And then they just say, I'm coming. As soon as they say they're going to that venue, that triggers training at the venue to let them know how to interact with the person when they arrive. When they do arrive, they have a manual arrival button on their phone or their tablet, whatever they're using, to say, I have arrived. That basically says, now I want you to come over and talk to me. if that's what they want to do. If they don't want people to talk to them, they can just say, I just want to turn up. I just want you to know I'm here, and I want to be able to just shop without somebody coming up to me. However, if I want to ask you something, I will come and see you. Now, this is about choice. It's about independence. It's about the disabled person choosing the level of customer service that they want. But in doing so, helping the staff member give that customer service to the level that they also feel comfortable delivering.
Ooh, I love that. Oh my goodness. You know, and I think this way of empowering everyone is so important. I did hear a couple of people saying, there is also the fear or some insecurity. People feel like, oh, I have a disability. Is it gonna be, secure for me to share my information? But I hear you when you said, no, we're not sharing your information. So you're not gonna be a target, but we are making sure to share a bit size of information around the disability need or the disability type, so that the staff that day have that information handy. So when you show up, they know how to serve and room and create an inclusive experience for everyone. Ooh.
But importantly, the staff member who's learned about that particular condition on that day doesn't forget it for the second day. So whether somebody is using Welcome or not on the second day, the staff member has been given an aid memoir that keeps them thinking about disability. So you don't even have to use Welcome to get better customer service. You just have to hope that somebody else has used it, or indeed use it yourself, so somebody else can benefit from your use of it. And I think that's the key here. This is not about you have to use our technology to get better customer service. If 10% of disabled people, if 5% of disabled people use Welcome, all disabled people would get better customer service.
Oh, I love it, love it. And I know also you said, you shared with me that a customer can create a profile, and then if they are going to a different venue that has also welcoming, supporting them, they don't have to recreate the whole, I need this is me. They just kind of share just the information, and they are now feeling more comfortable. Because I think the other thing that also was a challenge for people with disabilities is to go to places and have to reintroduce themselves, share about this. It's exhausting. It's creating, a little bit of exclusion as well. Sometimes people go as a group. I remember there is a great guy who won the American, what was that? American Got Talent, or American, it was dance, something about dancing with the star. He had, I think he had, what was it that he had? Oh, hearing impairment. He was deaf, but he went ahead and just compete and dance and won. And but this person was sharing a little bit of a story around the fact that he went to a movie theater to watch a movie, and he had asked to have, the closed caption device that he can use in a movie theater. They didn't know where it was, and actually one of the staff member gave him like a headset for for people who are blind, and he said, no, I don't have any blindness, I can see, I need something to read the closed caption. And
Yeah.
they didn't know where the device was. It was just a mess. I see Stephanie said something on the comment, but for some reason, Stephanie, I'm not able to see it directly on this platform. But she said, can we also have this for school? Oh, she mentioned something. Let me see it very quickly. Oh, the thing just disappeared on me. But Stephanie, what we will do, we'll go back to your comment and try to answer as much as possible. Okay, she said, what about bringing training to grade schoolers? Everyone trained to be human, respectfully.
Yeah, no, exactly. And it does start from a young age. And the more disabled children we have in the education system, then the more other children share space with them. But there is a problem, because it's in school, and then people go into employment, they get a job where they don't meet any more disabled people, because there aren't enough disabled people in employment. Only 50% of working age disabled people can find jobs. and certainly in the UK. And that's a massive challenge, not just for the disabled person, but because other people then lose some of the information they would have learned at school. And it just disappears as they go into their late teens and early 20s. So we need more disabled people in employment. We need to get more disabled people out into the world. And that is a key point here. Currently, we have this massive challenge around the world with loneliness. Loneliness affects disabled people and elderly people more than it does anybody else. Everybody will have a chance to feel lonely at some point. But what we're trying to do is get the people who aren't used to leaving home to leave home, because they know that they can go somewhere where the person knows their name if they want them to. We know that they can go to a shop they have never been to before, because when they get to the door, they're going to be met by somebody who says, "Hello, Jean, my name's Matthew. I know that you need to buy this or this or this. If you would like to follow me, I've already put some aside for you."
Yes.
And Jean goes, "Oh my God, I'm going to leave home more often." And
Yes.
that's what we want to do, because the person who leaves home more often also wants to maybe get into employment. Then we're building an awareness across
I love
everywhere.
it. I love it. I know a friend of mine who also has an hearing impair, and so going for interviews sometimes is quite challenging, because the people there at the interviewers sometimes act surprised. Like they're like, "Oh, you have. Oh, okay. How can we communicate? Can you write? Can you chat? Can you text?" And it's like, you know, someone going already for an interview has such, a pressure already to try to showcase their abilities and their skills, and now you're adding the pressure of communicating back and forth by writing or texting. Is such a challenge. But you know what, it's time to say goodbye to Gavin. But if you want to talk more with Gavin, where can people connect with you? Where can they find you?
So you can find me on LinkedIn, Gavin Neate, Neate on LinkedIn. But if you would like to find out more about Welcome, it's wel-co.me. So well-co.me. If you're wanting to set up a profile, it's my.well-co.me. Sadly, we're only in the UK and Republic of Ireland. Currently, you can set up a profile if you're in another country, but you won't have any venues near you. I get constantly asked, "When are you coming to North America? When are you coming to Australia? When are you coming to India? When are you coming?" And I'm like, "No." Dog's going in the background. So
The
yeah,
dog is also frustrated because of that. The dog is complaining. Why? Why? We need
that's
to bring
exactly, he's
that
agreeing
here.
with me.
But I wanted to also acknowledge very quickly. Ariel said, "Oh, he loves that. He loves to understand that there is a solution like that that can help." So he said, "Good job, good work,
Thank you. Thank
Gavin."
you.
And so I see also Gary, who said, actually the person name I was looking for who won the Dancing with the Star is Neil DeMarco. He's just a fantastic guy. I love to watch him. Um, Before we leave, I know that we took a little bit of time, but for those of you who can stay and listen to that, Gavin, you said that you have just officially signed up with a few companies.
Yeah.
I don't know if we can talk about
Yeah,
it,
very
but
quickly.
yes.
We've just launched with Levi's in the United Kingdom. Levi's have 75 stores, but we've launched with 13 stores in England and Ireland and Scotland and Northern Ireland. And just last week, we launched with 20 Currys stores. So the electrical retailer across the whole of the middle of England. So that's massive. They've got 300 stores in the UK. And if we're successful, if we can get people to go to Currys and test it out, Currys have said, if you can prove to us that disabled people want better customer service, then this is the sort of tool that we can spread out across the whole of the country. And then who knows, every Target, every hospital, every shop in America, every voting booth, every MP or, oh goodness me, everywhere. We're
It's
already in all of these
endless.
venues. It can
It's
go everywhere.
endless. Oh, I love it. So, Gavin, what we're going to do after this session, we will drop at some point just a link of one of your video introductory of Welcome Me, which is, I think, is fantastic. It's creating a lot more of the user experience. You will also see someone with a disability going through the experience. So, please, we're going to share that later on at the link. And so, thank you so much for joining us. We will see you next time. I host the session every Friday. If you like what you heard, just a thumbs up, a reaction, or please share this event with more people in your network. We'll see you next time. Bye bye.